What's up, you guys? Today we're actually doing something a little different. We're headed back over to Brad's, which if you remember in the past, we went there to pull a bunch of parts off for a junkyard kind of treatment before it went to the scrapyard, and then we've also worked on a Z31 doing a timing belt job. Now he has actually got another project car, which is honestly the coolest one yet, and we get to help him pull the engine, potentially fix the engine, and put it back in. He bought a Mitsubishi VR4. So what we're gonna do is pull a 3000 GT motor and try to Frankenstein two into one. Pretty much what we're just doing there is just swapping the crank out with associated bearings and whatnot. We're not like reinventing the wheel here. We're just trying to fix it so that way he can have a nice kind of collector's car. And honestly, I've not even seen what this thing looks like yet. So that's what I'm the most excited for, is to actually check this thing out. I don't have a color or anything. Not to mention, I've never worked on one of these before, but I love learning new stuff, especially on old JDM 90s cars. So, can't beat that. Now, let's continue our trek over to Brad's. Also, we happen to have, I don't know how well you guys can see it, a crack in my windshield that has just happened to grow about a foot today. Not sure how, not sure if it's the temperature, but pretty annoying to say the least. Here she is in all of her glory. This is actually a pretty good condition. I just looked at the underside of it and it's very clean. Wow, these actually have a pretty rad interior, kind of like the Z, more like a cockpit view. I remember these NA from the factory made exactly as much as an NAZ, and the twin turbos made exactly as much because of the gentleman's agreement. If you didn't know, that was something back in Japan in the 90s. All the people in Japan came to an agreement that they wouldn't try to compete and make a car better and faster than the next one, and that they all just be maxed out at 300 horsepower. That looked chowdered. Now let's find out how we can lift this thing up on a jack and some jack stands. Not too familiar with this chassis, so I really don't want to pinch or damage anything if I don't need to. I actually really don't know where to jack this. There's no subframe that I can even see. I think that is what that little spot's for. Other than that, there's really just nothing. I mean, now I've got the car on all fours. Let's go ahead and start pulling a couple things here off the engine. Start with the intake system. Probably the easiest to access out of all of this craziness. I thought twin turbo Z's were pretty cramped, but maybe it's just because I don't know this thing. It's awfully cramped.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to rain.
Now that the majority of all the boost piping and hoses are off, I'm going to work on the fuel injector connector or harness right here, which unfortunately shares the same design as the early style Z32 with these little, I think they're EV6 connectors. It's clip design. Whoever made this, you suck. All of them are unplugged. Just pull this out the way. Went ahead and just pulled the intake off. Got a couple of bolts here. Nothing too crazy. Now we're going to work on getting the rest of this boost piping out, so then we can actually pull our radiator out when we start to drain the coolant. To do that, we actually have to get access back here. So I'm not sure how well you can see, but the coupler to this is actually right down there. So wish our hands luck. Got one pesky screw back here holding us up. Fingers crossed this comes out how it's supposed to. We had success. It actually works after 30 years. There's the access to the boost pipe that I was looking for. Now we know that it comes down here to the intercooler. And it's actually both sides of the intercooler. And we managed to get both of them out. What a knuckle buster. This side was actually fully equipped, and it's really giving me a run for my money here. We got all out except one more clip. Struggling to get this hose clamp, so since we're struggling, we're going to just pull the lower shroud make it easier, at least on this side. For the next step, we're going to begin draining our coolant, but to do that, we actually have to remove this full undershroud to even get access to where the radiator drain is at. I don't want to just go disconnecting the hose and making an absolute mess if we don't need to. Oh, these aren't in there tight at all.
These catalytic converters might be worth more than I paid for the whole car.
Yeah.
If they're a factory, I think they are.
Question is, does the valve still work? Yes, it does. So we just came over here to look for the radiator cap. It's not there. It is all the way up here. I guess for bleeding reasons that helps. While we wait, may as well just pull these mounts off. We already got the AC fans all disconnected, so we're ready to go when the coolant's out. Oh, never mind. I guess those connectors were at the top. I was just overthinking it. Such a weird design.
This isn't hurt. Everything else hurt.
Sweet. All the room for activities now. I just learned these battery trays are removable. This windshield washer reservoir is actually mounted to it. You can see that 10 mil right there. Now there's even more room for activities or accessibilities, whichever you prefer. All I gotta say is if you ever have to change your hydraulic slave on this thing, good luck. Yeah, so I definitely just pulled that. One casualty, that's it. Finally got the linkage clips out. Same things that they use on a brake system. Now we can pull the shifter cables out. I think we officially have all the wiring harness off. I learned that these actually have a secondary wiring harness or sub harness for your injectors. So I just disconnected all of these cruddy EV6 injectors for literally no reason. Now for the fuel system.
Yeah.
There we go. Fuel hard line disconnected. What a heater line. So after a whole mishap of sitting here for probably 30 minutes trying to get this starter, check this out. So this cover has to be out of the way enough to get access to that nut that you see, or that bolt or stud. This is how it is straight down. You barely get access to the nut at all. And you're working with literally zero space. Yeah. And once again, whoever thought twin turbo Z's were bad, you've never worked on one of these. At least it's done, and at least our ground's off. Sit up number 400 today. I don't even know if I mentioned these two heater core hoses. This one and this one are literally the worst heater core hoses I've ever had to remove. Not even that, but this whole fact that there's actually metal hard lines for the fuel lines. And I believe that canister is a fuel filter and it has a banjo bolt on top. Unlike anything I've ever seen yet again. So we've now got literally everything off other than the AC compressor lines, because when we pull those we have to drain all the gas and fluid, engine mounts, and our cradle, because we're trying to drop this out through the bottom and lift the car up so we can pull it out, and hopefully then we can disconnect the trans and put the engine on an engine stand. Once it's on the stand, we can flip the engine over and check the condition of the crank to kind of know what we're working with, because if not, we have pretty much an engine right here ready to go that we can rob a crank from. Let's go ahead. Tools are already packed up. How convenient. And let's head out. Now, all done with work for the day. Let's fire up my trusty old work truck with the bad displacement on demand tick. Yikes. Yeah, I know it sounds like crap. Don't worry, this year I promise we're gonna fix our haul truck, work truck, whatever, not their 4-seater Z work truck, but our work truck. We're gonna buy a trailer this next year. We're getting that stinking drift car to the track. I'm over it. But not only that, we're putting a cam in this thing, and we're giving it some more horsepower so we can actually tow comfortably. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. We got something else planned for you. So today, we get the privilege of working on my old car. If you guys watch the channel, we actually, I think this is in our cover photo. This is a 4-seater that I sold, I think last year, maybe really early this year when it was still winter. This is the black bumper that actually came off of that. Sold it to him, but he actually needs the ABS unit replaced because it's leaking pretty badly. I need to put the fuel door latch or popper on. As you can see here, definitely leaking pretty bad, so we need to clean that up really good so that way it doesn't rust out. And then we also have to bleed the whole brake system, because since we pull the ABS unit, that connects to every single caliper and every part of the brake system, so that's going to have air in it. Not only that, we've got a set of e-brake cables. I honestly can't remember if I mentioned, but we're putting a coolant overflow on it, and we've actually got a catch can up here that we're going to install as well. I was hoping this fuel door cable was just going to be like a quick change, just using the lever and latch part. However, I think the cable's damaged and it's not moving correctly. So here we are. We've got the carpet and all pulled out. We actually have to pull this interior piece out, and everything else back here is already disconnected at least. Let's pull this quarter piece off. Oh man, that's going to be a hassle. That means we have to pull this off because dang it. At last, we have pulled the cable out. The reason we had to pull it is upon removing this old cable to switch out this little metal switch or plunger, this piece actually broke off, so there's no way to actually secure it to this bracket. So let's pull this off and switch her out. Took me way too long. You literally got to remove half the interior just to get the cable route accessed down there to the handle lever. 90s Nissans. We're fighting rain at the moment, so that's why camera's not out too much. We officially have the fuel door fixed. So that's a huge relief, or at least for me, because that was an absolute pain in my side. Never thought that that would be that much trouble. That took me all of like an hour and a half to finish. Now let's go ahead, pull this wheel off, lift it too, and get access to that coolant overflow. Ooh, nice and fresh tires there. So we pop the hood because we're going to need access for this right here. You have a Phillips plastic screw that I was just complaining about yesterday on that 3000 GT VR4. Remove that, pull the neck off, and you can pull the neck out separate. A little bit of leftover fluid. Should be good. Wiggle this out, to be honest. Yep, just like that. New unit in, old duct tape unit out. Now let's check our list. Maybe lift this thing up in the air and see if we can get to the underside, because really we've only got a couple hours of daylight and the rain still keeps coming in and out on us. So frustrating. So now we're onto the e-brake cable stuff. Luckily we went ahead and pulled the e-brake cables already completely unhooked from the bottom side. Now we got to pull the caliper, got to pull the rotor, pull all the e-brake components off, and dismount that from the e-brake shoe, and then we can pull the cable through. Hey, now I got a seat. All right, caliper bolts are 14, just kidding, 17 mil. Looks like we're gonna need a 17 mil wrench because I've never had this problem before, but the socket and the ratchet doesn't want to fit on the bolt. Ow! Oh man, that hurt. Don't be like me. Don't smash your fingers. Dang, that's the worst time you want to do it, is when it's super cold outside. Bolt 1, bolt number 2. I'm just going to tuck the caliper back here for now. Now I think we actually need a mallet, because I highly doubt this is going to come off by hand. Yep. Actually looks like the e-brake pads themselves are completely missing. So, I don't know. I think I'm gonna message the owner, ask him what he wants to do here, if maybe I should order shoes. He wants me to just put it back together for now. Just replace the cables still. I don't know. Well, this kind of stinks. Mainly the reason why this stinks is because I already unhooked the cables. So if he doesn't want to tackle this right now and like just gets the car back tonight or something, like, I don't want to have to go hook those back up. Yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's just, man, that sucks. Maybe we can find another set of pads on something else that I've got. Maybe. No promises, but we'll see how he feels about that. I'm just going to make the executive decision. Let's go ahead and just start pulling all this off. If we have to, we can put these back on, and really just to get to the brake shoes only is not that difficult. Granted, the e-brake cable isn't that difficult, but getting under the car and, you know, out here in the wetness right now isn't ideal. Wow, this is an absolute nightmare to get out. I don't get what I'm even getting hung up on. But this, oh, I guess we just got it. You complain enough and it just happens. I think we got it all disconnected. Let's pull her out. Cable doesn't look in the best condition, so toss her over there. Let's go get our new one. Once again, thank you GK Tech. Ordered us 2 sets when we did our 240, and now we have this set to replace. Preferably pull one side off at a time so you can match your cable up with this, as the other side will be mirrored and this will be on this side. Hopefully this doesn't fight us on the way in like it did on the way out. Alright, I think we're in for the most part. We definitely got a lot of extra cable. Let's see if we can mount this thing first. Snug her up. Finally, we got it all hooked up. We actually pulled the brake shoes off our other rear end, mainly because it turns out it was all new hardware, so it works perfectly. Let's go ahead and do the other side and hook up our cables, because we're running out of daylight. So now we are really out of daylight, but on a good note. Not a good note. The light literally just died. You've got to be kidding me. I guess I got the light of the GoPro here. We have 2 bolts and our e-brake is fully situated. Oh, so much rust and dirt in my mouth. Ugh. Oh, you actually can see a little bit on the GoPro. Now it's time. Let's test the e-brake. Driving it back up to the house. Oh yeah, that's like perfect. This is all the way engaged. Never have I ever. Usually it's all the way up here. I think I'm gonna have to do this to my own car. New brake shoes, readjust it, get new cables, because this feels fantastic. Honestly, I might have to do this to every Z that I own. Well, it's time for you to go home. See you, Z. It was nice working on you. See you next weekend. Well, I'm super stoked with how that turned out. If you guys are really wanting to know kind of how to hook up your e-brake and stuff, I just posted a video of my S13 e-brake swap, and that's all the same thing. It's literally Z parts on an S13. So if you need to know how to hook it up, check that video out. I'm happy. Another happy customer. 2 happy customers this weekend. Now we get to move back onto this thing this week. Get that wheel well over there finished coating up, and then we're actually probably going to move to the underside and try to make our way to the back. Hopefully we can get that all knocked out and get this thing back to where we're focusing on suspension, and we can start cleaning everything else up to look fresh and new. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really pleased with how this turned out. I definitely will recommend in the video that you guys use better spray. This stuff didn't turn out black. I mean, it's black, but it's like gray and white at the same time. I don't know. I like it, but just doesn't appeal like a dark or kind of shiny black. So we'll see maybe what else we can find. I hope you guys liked the video. I know it's kind of an odd video, but this is just what I had in store for the next couple days. And with it being cold outside, I've got to take on some side work because it's kind of hard to get motivated sometimes to pull and sell parts when it's 10 degrees outside. Don't forget to drop a like below, as it really helps out the channel. Algorithm things helps bump us up there, you know. Let's get our channel out there and help us grow. Thank you guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.